Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Pacific Horseplayers right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Noah Meagher, joined by my wonderful co-host, Ryan Anderson, as we take you through two of the Fairgrounds stakes on Saturday, as well as the Santa Anita Late Pick 3, which is very similar to the Late Pick 3 that we covered last week. Unfortunately, they had to cancel the card last week because of fires and such. But as much as Ryan and I love Santa Anita, we get to cover it again. So we'll be doing that for you guys. As well as the two stakes from Fairgrounds. But before we do that, of course, we've got to take care of some administrative stuff. Of course, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. The power picks are rolling. Boss is en fuego, as he'd like to say. He's unconscious. He had two spot plays, or two best bets, I believe, hit last week. He swept three sequences a couple weeks ago. I mean, the picks are rolling. So make sure you guys go purchase those and go check those out. You can do that down below in the video player, and then you can also do it at our website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Sometimes I forget to do this. So, of course, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell. Ryan's got experience in saying that, but I don't think I say that enough. So make sure you guys go do that. Ryan, how are we doing tonight?
Doing well. Yeah, no, definitely didn't just see you 4 hours ago. Is you, me, and Jackson got the Turfway Park late pick 5 with the carryover. Went through that sequence a few hours ago over on the Gallop Out. Now I'm ready to, Santa Anita Part 2 and two excellent races on the turf over at Fairgrounds for this weekend.
Yeah, those are some wide open races that we're going to be that we are going to be covering for you guys. We'll see who is in the chat right now. Katie is here, of course. He says he's ready, or she's ready for take 2. Our good friend Jackson was here. He said that he was second, and sub Katie. You said that you were third, which I thought was pretty funny. Matt looks to be fourth. He says, hi, all. And that is who we've got in here so far. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. We will be covering the Fairgrounds stakes first. And the first one we will be covering is race 6. So let me get that up on the screen right now. Race 6 is the Duncan F. Kenner Stakes. It's $400,000. They're going 5 1/2 furlongs on the turf. Morning line favorite goes all the way to the inside in the number 1 no balls for E.T. Baird and Larry Ravelli at 9-5. We do have morning lines for the Fairgrounds races, but we do not have morning lines for the Santa Anita races. So it's going to be a little tough with the numbers in that scenario, but we'll do the best we can with names and post positions and such. I'll go ahead and get the picks up on the screen for us right here, Ryan. Give me 1 second. There we go. I'm going 1-4-6, and you're going 11-3-6. Both using the 6 in some regard. But you're going all the way to the outside with the 11 Bear River for Concepcion and Keith DeSormo.
Yes, I am. I like this outside speed angle here. There's not a whole lot of speed. Obviously, you have no balls on the rail. I'm playing against him. I know you used him on top. I just thought, scratched out of the Hong Kong sprint. I'm not sure if he shipped over there or not. I don't believe he did. I believe it was stopped before he went over. But either way, that clearly derailed things. This is kind of a low-level spot to bring him back, which makes you think maybe he's, they kind of got other things down the line for him. So I think this might be an opportunity that they're just trying to get a race into him. So I'm going to go with the outside speed with the number 11 Bear River. I think this one should be forwardly placed. No balls again from the rail. Probably going to send Bear Rivers 2 for 2 at Fairgrounds. I'm hoping he can make it 3 for 3.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said. That race last time that he did win came up just a bit lighter than it probably should have. That was a race that we actually covered for crossover week. So Pete, Pat, and I actually covered that race. I believe there were supposed to be 9 or 10 entrants, and then quite a few of them scratched. So took the speed out of the race. I believe this horse was like 20-1 morning line or something stupid. Obviously got bet down to about 6-1 and got the job done on the front end. There looks to be a little bit of pace, but if he is able to clear from the 11 post, could certainly be a factor. 6-1 on the morning line for your top choice. We'll go to the horse that you have in second, which is the 3 Cavad, who's an interesting runner, mainly a dirt runner, but Joe Sharp tries this one on the turf for his 6th time.
Yeah, Joe Sharp, obviously a really astute trainer. He's excellent when getting horses of this kind of caliber, this class, over to the turf. I know the stats may be a little bit light with dirt to turf, 17% with a 286 ROI is certainly not bad. This, again, just a classy runner. He's a 7-time winner. He's 0 for 1 over like the Fairgrounds turf course, and he is 0 for 5 on turf, but all of those were prior to being in the barn of Joe Sharp. So I think Joe has this one going well. Dettori sees fit to ride this one, which is obviously a plus as he's one of the best in the country. So I'm excited to see what Kavad has. And again, I think there is a little bit of pace in here. I don't disagree. My plan is basically if Bear River can't cross and clear, Kavad's probably going to be sitting in that second flight of horses right off the speed. Nice little 3-post draw for him. So he's going to make a run late, and I think he might be able to get the job done if there's enough pace in front of him.
I thought this was a really interesting entrant, Ryan, because Joe Sharp's also got the 2 right to the inside, Gilded Ruler, who looks to benefit from some pace as he did last time. I was wondering what Frankie was going to do on the 3, and then I saw what happened with Gilded Ruler last time, and the horse that actually set the pace in that race was another Joe Sharp entrant. So I wonder, even though this one isn't necessarily turf meant, I wonder if Frankie's going to send and show a little more speed than maybe he has. Like you said, is typically a second flight type of horse. But I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder if they're going to show a little more speed to maybe set it up for Sharp's other horse in the 2. Certainly talented on the dirt, but obviously the turf is the question. Like I alluded to earlier, they've tried 5 times, only 1/3. So I wonder if that's maybe the tactic that Sharp's going with here. So a little maybe skepticism there, but a talent certainly definitely not a question. We'll go to the inside with No Balls, who obviously is the morning line favorite, and I've got on top. Ryan, this is a horse that I've never really been a huge fan of, but I don't know. I question the field that he runs against today. He's 6. He looks to be in that second flight, maybe similar to the 3, if your thinking is correct there. He's certainly talented enough. Obviously you mentioned the Hong Kong stuff, but even though he was training in Turfway, came back to Turfway. Obviously, when you see a month gap in the works, could be a concern. But obviously, we know where he was pointing to, and comes back here. It seems like this spot came up pretty light, so that's why I've got him in the mix. Was there something in specific that you didn't like about him, or just too short of a price?
It's a big field, and that's kind of where he's been, maybe not his most vulnerable, but he's certainly lost on occasion, given his best speed figure was the 102 in May of last year, and that was the last time he drew the 1 post. But he pretty much had to dead send for the lead there, and he finished that race really well, and he was very game and not being defeated at almost 40-1 that day. But I think his hand is going to be forced from the inside. I don't think he's the same horse as he was in May of 2023. He's a 6-year-old now, so he's still got plenty of ability. I know you said maybe he kind of comes from a bit off of it, and I think that is maybe his preferred run style, just, second or third early. It worries me, and that was the reason I couldn't pick him on top, which is from the rail. I think, again, his hand's going to be forced. He's going to have to get pretty forward, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a detriment to him, but I think there is some other speed that's going to be able to press him. So he's either going to have to hold them off, which he certainly has the class or the back class to do so. I just think maybe he's not cranked up at 100% right now. So I'm going to try and take some plays against him.
Yeah, no, I don't mind the thinking. This is, typically a horse that I probably would play against or like to play against. It'll be interesting to see what the decision is that E.T. Baird makes. Like you said, maybe earlier on in his career, just kind of a speedball, but as he's gotten older, he's kind of switched his dynamic and his preferred running style to maybe coming from off of it. You've got the 6 in third, Mischievous Rogue, who I actually have in third as well. This is a horse that actually scratched out of the race that the 11 ran in. This is a newly claimed 7-year-old for Brittany Vandenberg, and Jareth Loveberry gets the ride.
Yeah, Vandenberg's very sharp off the claim. Like this angle, she places her horses really well. So last time out, this one just broke a step slow and going 5 furlongs at Churchill Downs. That was the end of this one's run pretty much. Yet he still made a wicked late close to finish second by a neck to Macedo, who is an okay horse. Was the favorite that day, was Mischievous Rogue. Loveberry on today, 17% at Fairgrounds. This is kind of his. So I have no reservations really about using him in this spot. Yeah, again, another one that I think is definitely going to need some pace. I think that last race, it doesn't necessarily show his proper run style. I think you got to go to that race at Hawthorne to see really what he wants to do, just kind of really sit a couple lengths off and be able to kind of make that late run. Yeah, I think 5.5 is going to kind of help him, because I think the speed, if it does show up, is going to be kind of that 5 furlong speed. And that last half a furlong, it might open it up to closers, and Mistress Rogue is going to be flying. So I'm going to take that. And you also get a really nice price. You haven't gotten a price like 9-2 on him in the last 4 runs there. So I like it. He clearly has some ability, and I'm hoping he shows it today or Saturday.
Quite a few times that you've gotten him at a low price, but should be definitely decent. Obviously, No Balls will take money. I believe he is the second choice on the morning line. So, I mean, I wouldn't think he'd be any lower than 4-1, if I had to guess. But with that being said, I've got him at third for the same reasons you do. In the race that he was scratched out of, there was actually less speed in that race than there is today, and I still liked him. So I feel like I kind of got to go with him in some regard, which is why I got him in third. In terms of overall general pace flow, I am hoping that Frankie does send a little bit with the 3, like we talked about, that dirt horse for Sharp. Obviously, the 11's fast. No Balls is not slow. Hopefully, to set things up for a horse I'm very interested in second, for the 4 Demolition Duke. This is a horse for Jose Ortiz, who has been on fire at Fairgrounds for the last month or two. Brendan Walsh, obviously very capable with these turf sprinters. Very nice win, 2 back. Got an 88 buyer, which maybe is a little slow, but the 113 time form is right with a lot of runners in here. Then Brendan Walsh took him to Florence, Kentucky, ran a 4th in one of those new synthetic championship races. The 3 horses that finished in front of him are very talented sprinters. Howard Wallowitz was in the Breeders' Cup. Run Carson has run multiple 3-digit buyers, and then one-timer is another really nice horse for Larry Ravelli. So I don't discredit him at all for getting second in that race. And I love horses that come from Turfway and run somewhere else. Just something about that surface just makes them really fit. So looking for that one to run in the money somewhere. So we'll go ahead and move on to the second race that we're talking about at Fairgrounds as I get this switched over. That is not what I want. But I'm going with 146, and Ryan is going with 1136 in the 6th race at Fairgrounds. As I go ahead and get our next race up on the screen, the next race we're going to be talking about is race 8. That is the Marie G. Krantz Memorial Stakes. Another race for $100,000, going a mile and a 16th on the turf this time. We've got a wide open field of 14. Wow. And 2 also eligibles, the 15 and the 16. And as wide open as this field is, it doesn't get much easier than a 4-1 morning line. So quite the task on our hands as I go ahead and get these picks up on the screen. I'm going 13-7-6. Ryan's going 9-13-1. Ryan going with the 9 Ghostly Gal for Jareth Loveberry and Wayne Catalano, who are actually teaming up on a horse that is going to be running later in the Lecomte.
That's right. I'll let you talk about that one. Yeah, no, I like Ghostly Gal here. Last effort on Turfway, Buyer was pretty light. But I think this one probably prefers turf. That's where she's done some of her best running. That race 2 back was really strong. It was a moderate pace, closed into it nicely. I get it. I understand it was just allowance company she faced that day. I get that she's 7, but she's still running some really strong races. So I like her here. You mentioned that Turfway kind of gets them fit. And I mean, last time she just kind of chased a bit of a slow pace. I believe Dana's Beauty was, if not wire to wire, was definitely forward placed in there. And rightfully so. I mean, you go 25, 49, 112. That's gonna probably get you there more times than not at Turfway Park. But yeah, I'm taking a shot with Ghostly Gal here. Again, 10-1 on the morning line in a really tough betting race. I think this one should get a nice little setup. And I'm just noticing that both of us chose the 13, which is normally an AE, but yeah, in this monstrous field that is in the body of the field here. But I think Ghostly Gal, if she runs back to that effort 2 back, I'll go ahead and toss the last time out in the 3 back just because those were slow paces, even though that 3 back effort kind of closed into a bit of a slow pace and then ran off with it. She was pretty close to the lead that day. So she's got some ability, and I think that on her best day, she can certainly fire a strong effort.
Yeah, I like the pick. Certainly took a look at her. This is a wide open race like we touched on. This is a horse that's very consistent and actually a very lightly run 7-year-old, only 16 starts, but really has not done too much wrong in her career. over $250,000 earner. She's only been out of the money, 4 times?
4 times.
So no discredit to her. Another one that was in one of those synthetic championship races. And like you said, Dana's Beauty last time just took them all the way around the track in a pretty slow pace. So should get a better setup today for J Love and the Catman. Let's go to the horse that you have in second and the horse that I have on top. I'll let you talk about a little bit about her first. But this is a horse bred in Argentina, came over to Keeneland and won very impressively for Nacho Correas.
Yeah, I almost think that this horse might be your morning line favorite. Or sorry, not morning line favorite, but post time favorite.
I 100% agree.
Certainly looks like the one to beat, even if that buyer figure is a little light. The time form of 111 stacks up really nicely versus field. Showed up in North America the right way, or showed up in America the right way. Sorry. And I'm looking for a strong effort right back here. Jose, as you mentioned, on fire, rides for Nacho Correas here. This one showed a wicked turn of foot last time. Just closed like a freight train, ran away, and faced a couple other common foes in that race, and really just blew the doors off. Took some money, was 3-1 that day, so certainly well respected. And I think right back here, 7-2 seems like the price you'll get on Nandadea. And I mean, the outside post is a minor concern for me. But the fact that this horse does like to come from a few lengths out of it, I think Jose is going to be able to get back, get a nice spot somewhere in there. And I'm hoping he can just save ground and make that run. And that's all she needs. I
know she didn't really beat much last time. I mean, she beat a couple runners in here, Quality Star and Join the Dance. But I believe Join the Dance is 10-1 on the line and Quality Star's 20. So maybe she didn't beat the greatest of fields, but just the way she did it was super impressive. Great ride from Jose that day, and Jose rides back, which I think speaks volumes here. This horse is very similarly campaigned to a horse that we know of or know well, Indidia, who Nacho brought over from Argentina. She ran as a 4-year-old, I believe, at Fairgrounds, and then came back at 5, won the Pegasus, and had a really nice run at Saratoga as well. So it seems like this could maybe be Didia number 2 or Didia 2.0. But yeah, agree with everything you said. I think she's certainly one that's very logical in here, and hopefully you will get a decent price. But just the wide open field and the difficulty with the nature of this field. So you've got her second, I've got her first.
Also, real quick, to just sorry, not to cut you off, just to address one more thing. Jackson obviously told us earlier today, and then I saw another comment that says lots of rain Saturday. You and I looked it up for New Orleans, and they're really not expecting all that much, unless wherever the track is getting different weather than New Orleans. I'm not sure, but to answer the question of down in the chat, I am certainly handicapping for on the turf because it didn't look like they were supposed to get too much rain.
So. Yeah, I was looking at it earlier. Let me bring it up again. Sometimes the Apple weather is not the most accurate, but I try to look for rain like by hour. And I believe I was telling you I was supposed to stop around maybe 10 or 11 in the morning. Yeah. I don't know when the first post is. So maybe could be off the turf. I think if it were to be, pretty bad, they would probably take these off the turf and then maybe the ones in the pick 5, keep them on or something like that. But yeah, good point that you brought up. And then another point that Jackson brought up about the Lasix. Can you tell everyone about that?
Yeah, he said JK forgot it's Fairgrounds. So
yeah, but Fairgrounds does what is it? I really don't. It's something about they have the Lasix in the listed stakes or in the
I'm pretty sure they're just allowed to run with Lasix whenever because they're not under the HISA.
That's right.
I think is what it is. So
I knew it was something. Yeah, I just wasn't sure what it was.
Rules don't apply to Fairgrounds and Woodbine. So
yeah, seriously. I've got this horse that I have in second, Austere, another Brendan Walsh horse. I'm just realizing for Declan Cannon, this is one that was just in some really nice races as a late 2-year-old and an early 3-year-old. Waited a while to bring her back, and it seemed like that was a bit of a prep race, but she was able to handle it. Got the job done nicely at 6-5 that day. Like I said, I thought it was a bit of a prep for her. So for her to run back to that 82 buyer 112 time form, I thought was nice, and she should have her best foot forward here. So I got her in second. And then
how about the company lines Austere is kept? in her
Seriously,
career,
yeah.
losing to Buku, losing to Hard to Justify, style points. I mean, yeah, that I like that pick for you. Certainly second off the bench.
Yeah, and you've got I've got the 6 and 3rd, who we will touch on in a second, but you've got the 1 and 3rd, who actually is your morning line favorite. Cupid's Crush for McLean Robertson, who's actually coming out of a 5.5 race, but maybe stretching out to her preferred distance.
Yeah, that 5.5 race is really something. She ran a great race. She finished second by a length and a half, clearly doing something that she doesn't really want to do. That's not her. That's not like her MO. Her MO is clearly 2 turns, as you see, the 96, the 93 buyer, the 88. This one's tactile though. This one, 3 back at Canterbury. I know it was Canterbury, but still was, relatively well placed and drew off in a good time under Carmona, who's now over on the West Coast at Santa Anita.
Sure.
And then, came right back and backed up that Canterbury form with a win at Keeneland and took money that day, was under 4-1. So for a Canterbury shipper to come in, you have James Graham riding in an allowance race at Keeneland. I mean, that is no light field. By any stretch of the imagination. Backed up that 93 buyer, yes, with an 88, but paired up that 88 at the 5.5, and now gets to stretch back out around 2 turns. Has a nice draw. Is going to kind of, this one's going to be forward early, but clearly has shown that she has absolutely no issue passing runners. Hiron Barbosa, I'm familiar with the jockey. I don't use him a whole lot, but I mean, clearly he's capable enough. He's got a really strong mount here, so. I'm going to take a shot with this one in 3rd. I don't think this one's going to be 4-1. I think this one has a chance to drift up. Certainly a deserving 4-1 by all accounts, but I think the 13 on today is probably going to take some money. Cupid's Crush, I'm hoping for 5-1. That feels fair to me.
I remember when she ran at I believe she ran at Keeneland, and I had to have been there that day because I was there all the time. The sicko that I am. But nonetheless, I want to say she was like 8-5 or 9-5 on the line, and she went off at something crazy like 7-2. Obviously, got the job done that day, and then almost got the job done going 5.5 last time, like you said. I should probably bring these chats up that we've got about the weather. Mike Zaletta says Friday into Saturday morning, and then Rob says showers likely and possibly a thunderstorm before noon. Then a chance of showers, cloudy. Jesus, I can't speak. Cloudy with a high near 67, southwest wind 5 to 15 miles per hour, chance of precipitation 60%. Okay, so thank you for showing that.
It seems like it has a chance to get rained out, or it has a chance to stay relatively dry. It's going to be kind of one of those in between, where if the showers kind of go over Fairgrounds, it's probably going to be an off the turf day. But if it manages to kind of skirt around, which let's all hope it does, we should be all right.
Knock on wood if you've got wood near you. Jackson says King of Keeneland. Thank you very much. That is not self-proclaimed. Here is the boss. Boss says, what's up, everyone? Hope rain stays away Saturday. Light showers possible. We'll see. So it looks like everyone in the chat is a weather forecaster now. But let's get back to the races. You had the 1 and 3rd, which I agree with a lot of points that you made. I'll quickly touch on the 6 and we'll move on. The 6 is Way to Be Marie. This is a horse that's actually coming in from staying at Fairgrounds, but was in the off the turf race that stake last time. But obviously prefers the turf. She was another one that was running in some nice races early on. Had a little bit of a break. Ran in the Pebbles and ran just fine. Lost to Oversubscribed, who's a nice 4-year-old or actually 3-year-old filly at that time for Chad Brown. And then last time, you can completely scratch that. So I think this is one that will be close to the pace as long as Giroux. I know we talk about Giroux and some of his questionable rides, but hopefully as long as he gives us one a good ride, she likes it here at Fairgrounds. So got her in the mix, got her in 3rd. We'll go ahead and move on to the Santa Anita races, unless you want to talk about someone else, Ryan.
Real quick, if you go to the number 8, this is a bit of a wild card. 20-1 on the morning line for Champagne Rose, Brazilian bred, shipping over from McPeak. Obviously, not a very common move that he does. However, this one's been stationed here for a while, since December 8th, has had a bunch of published works. The works all look very routine every, about 7 days on average. So this one comes in here in good order. McPeak has decent numbers with all this. I didn't get a chance to look at his shipper numbers, but I mean, the horse knows how to win. I understand coming from Brazil, very low-level purses. And the thing that stood out to me was that last race before she shipped over, 158-2 for a mile and a quarter. I mean, even if you're running on concrete, that is still racehorse time. So going 158.2, that at least caught my eye and gave me like a little intrigue into this runner. Definitely I didn't want to pick this one on top. Clearly didn't pick this one in the top 3, but I think could be an interesting horse to round out your supers maybe.
And this is one where we have the luxury of looking at double probables to see if this one's taking money. Yes. So if you're right about this one, Ryan, and this one looks to be interested by the public, certainly will not be 20-1. But we'll go ahead and move on to our Santa Anita races. But
before you did that, there was a Loveberry and Catalano horse that you kind of promised us the scoop on.
Well, that's right. Give me 1 second. Actually, you know what? Go ahead. Have you looked at that race yet?
I have not, but I can right now. I'm the best speed capper in the game.
Why don't you talk about a couple horses that maybe you like going into that race?
Yeah. That is the 12th. Yes. Let me. All right. So, I mean, obviously, you have Innovator from the rail. He comes in for Dwayne Lucas off a nice maiden special weight win. Finally got that maiden broken. I'm looking in other directions, of course. Admiral Dennis last time out just kind of fired a bit of a clunker behind Built, who Noah's going to talk about here any second. I think that one has an opportunity to rebound a little bit, and you're getting 8-1 on a Brad Cox horse with a 3-year-old on the Derby Trail. Don't let that one get off at too big of a price. I mean, you got Dapper Moon, who's been a very well campaigned now 3-year-old coming in here, and Noah looks ready to talk about Built, which is good because I just got to the number 13. So take it away.
I am. So if you guys do not know, last semester I actually had a professor at the University of Kentucky who owns a piece of Built. Howard and I were fortunate enough to go into the winner's circle when he broke his bane at Keeneland. Then he came back and ran last time in the Gun Runner and ran completely off the screen. Obviously, his price went way down on the Kentucky Derby Futures. So I messaged my professor to see if he had any information, and this is what he gave me. He said he's doing great, showing a lot of energy in the morning. Have not talked to Catman about strategy, but I think he would not try to go wire to wire with the other speed in there. He said Jareth has been on him for his works and has gotten to know the horse really well. And then he said he's such a unique horse because he's very mellow until it's time to run. And then he's just super responsive. And he did say that the one that he's most worried about is Disco Time, which is one of the Cox runners. And he's actually going down for the race. So hopefully he does not run into thunderstorms out there. But just a little information from a owner of Built with all of that. Ryan?
I just said thank you for that. And hey, if it rains hard spun out of a Curlin dam, hey, I mean there's worse breeding to have in the slop. So
yeah, I don't see him having any real problem with it. So good luck to him. Good luck to all the Eclipse partners there. We'll go ahead and move on to the Santa Anita races finally. As I bring up race 9 for Santa Anita races, we will be talking about the late pick 3, which is races 9, 10, and 11. Race 9 is at 3:30 local. It is the Unusual Heat Turf Classic Stakes presented by City National Bank. We've got a field of
what a read.
And as you already know, we talked about most of these races last Tuesday. So if you want to find out a little bit more of our in-depth opinions, go check that race out. We are going to be talking about these very briefly. We do have picks for them. Some of them are very similar to what we had last week, so it's a little bit repetitive. But we just wanted to make sure that we cover these races. There are a couple changes that we will possibly note as long as we have all of them down. In race 9, I'm going 7-3-9, and Ryan's going 1-3-6. Ryan, it looks like you're sticking with similar picks. You've got the one on the whim on top, who you talked about. Old Pal, who I've got in the mix, and then Fast Buck you talked about. Anything that you really want to talk about this race? Any similarities, any differences to how you saw it last time?
Yeah, for anybody that's going to be betting this card, they redrew the entire card. So the last time we did this, I did not have Old Pal on my ticket, and this time I do. I picked this one in second, actually. I think post position 3, I believe this one drew 10 or 11, possibly even 12 the last when they originally drew this field. And I just didn't like him out there. But from post 3, this one clearly has some ability. I know this one is 5, so just kind of right in that wheelhouse. Certainly can still run. Newly turned 5-year-old Mark Glatt can have him ready whenever they need to be ready. has been improving even in his last looks like 5 races, 6, 7, 8, basically every race of his career. He's either paired up or improved on his last run. So, I'm looking for another step forward. This is a Calbred that's been facing open company in optional claiming ranks and hasn't quite gotten through, but certainly knocking on the door. So I was willing to change my opinion a little bit and move up Old Pal considerably now that he has drawn post 3, and I think that's pretty favorable. And then, I'll touch on the rail horse on the whim. I love that horse. Love this horse today, or again, Saturday. I think that last time just was not the time for this horse. 80 buyer, I'm willing to toss that. He gets back to any of those races, 2, 3, 4 back. That's going to make him a big threat in here, and I'm looking forward to seeing him run. And the original morning line had on the whim at 10-1. He will not be 10-1. Maybe half that. Maybe half.
Hopefully that gets corrected the second time around.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, 1-3, and then I'll give a quick shout to the 6 if we have the time. Fast Buck. Again, just ultra consistent horse. 7-year-old gelding. I love these Calbred geldings. They're just running over and over and over again, and they seem to be really good. They're running great races. This one was 5th by a couple of lengths in the Green Flash. There's Jackson's favorite angle ever is Paired Up Buyers. Was just outrun in the Seabiscuit with Mi Hermano Ramon redistricting and some others. So go ahead and just forget about that effort. Back in against State Breds, and I'm looking for him to have a nice performance in there.
I thought that was his second favorite angle, right? I think we know what his first is. Right?
Well, yeah, true. That's his favorite in the States.
Yeah.
That's his favorite in the States.
I've got the same picks that I had last time. I've got the 7 Allegato, who is the second GLAT entrant for Vladimir Pratt, who hops on here. And then I got the 3 in second. I had those 2 as my top 2 last time. And then the other one that I threw in that I thought was interesting, I believe is I think this is the 9, Takes 3, who ran on the dirt last time, but getting back to preferred surface. So we won't touch on this one too much longer as we'll get into race 10. Let me switch this over. We'll just go ahead and do this without sharing and unsharing the screen. Race 10 is the California Chrome Cal Cup Derby. We've got the same exact field of 8. Obviously, the post positions have been switched because they drew these again. I believe the morning line favorite when we did do it was the 6 R Heisman, about 2-1. And then I think the 1 Shea Brennan was 5-2. So should be something similar. There are the picks on the bottom of the screen. I'm going the same exact, and I think you are going the same exact as well, right? I'm going 6-1-2. You're going 5-3-7. Any changes to how you saw this one?
No, still Whiskey Gin and Branding is my top pick in here. Coming out of that same race, this one actually had some trouble and was wide in those turns. So I'm going to take the one with some trouble. Was trying to close down the lane, but just looking at his sprint efforts, he likes to be a little closer up, and he just didn't get the chance to. He started off, a length off the lead, had to steady, and was just uncomfortable where he was. So I want him out. I want him back here in this spot. The 5 post, great draw. He's going to be able to get some good speed. Should just sit too wide, maybe a little bit of cover. But I love this effort. Second time routing. Steve Knapp and Pereira on fire. And he's certainly going to outrun his odds, and that's the one I want coming back. And then Style Cat, obviously, to post 3 there with JJ and Peter Miller. Mentioned this last week. Failed at 1-9 last time out, but now gets to stretch to 2 turns. Kitten's Joy on the bottom should be fine. Curlin on top should be fine to handle the 2 turns. Just kind of has the running style of a horse that would prefer it. Lost by a neck last time going 6 furlongs in a 5-horse field. That's tough to excuse, but he is trying something new today, and that is going 2 turns. So I'm willing to forgive it and see what he has to offer now.
Yeah, I don't have really much to say because we talked about this extensively last time. The one thing I will note, I think could change the complexion of the race is that the 1 Shea Brennan drew the rail, obviously. And last time in the listed stake at Los Al actually showed a little bit of a different dimension where Fraser took him to the lead. We talked about maybe he might be a little bit versatile this time. He can come from off of it, do what he did last time as well. This might actually force the hand and might heat things up a little bit more. So interested to see if Fraser sends from there or if he takes him back So interesting in that regard. And then the last race we'll talk about is race 11, obviously, as I get that up on the screen. Race 11, which I think is probably the best betting race, maybe even on the card, not even just the races that we're talking about, is the Leanne Howard California Cup Oaks, 175,000, 1 mile on the turf. 4 newly turned 3-year-old fillies, a wide open field of actually 13 this time. 1 AE in the 13 musical number, who I actually had in my top 3 when we talked about it last weekend. So had to include a horse in third. I will show the picks right now. I am 6'9" and Ryan is 6'8" So again, we're going with the same top pick. Ryan in the 6, take another card. Barrios this time for Callahan, still coming off of a really nice maiden effort.
Yeah, of course, Dettori is going to be out in Louisiana for the Fairgrounds card, obviously, as that's going to take priority today. But yeah, take another card. I said this last week, just won like a good thing. Broke a step slow for a debuter. That's tough to do. Was 2 at the time. Now a newly turned 3-year-old. I'll have an, I mean, yeah, I love this. I love this horse, and I love what he showed on the debut. I know Jackson's probably going to pop in the chat like, who did he beat? But that's going to take me to the number 8, Me So Fancy, who is going to be added to this race, who was not in last week, and who won here on January 4th at Santa Anita, going the 6 furlongs. Was, what was that, 3-5, 2-5, 1-2 that day?
2, I think.
And I mean, won by 2 lengths, but it certainly didn't look that convincing. And I mean, I get the paired up buyers to start the career if you want to, take that angle. But obviously that's going to be a tough horse to beat. And I did use this horse. But with Take Another Card, you and I picked him on top at post 12 last week. And I mean, post 6, that just reinforces how much I love this horse. To see Hector take the mount here as well. Dettori's gone. Obviously, Dettori's a great rider, but as far as West Coast turf riders go, I mean, Hector Barrios is top 3 probably year round with the way he consistently gives great rides, consistently saves ground, and his ability to finish down the lane. So I'm looking forward to this one stretching out around 2 turns.
Yeah, and this one I just realized I had as I like to put the stats up in the top right, with the Callahan 20%, 80 to 30 days. This one still fits the bill because I think she was coming back in 2 weeks when it was supposed to be last Saturday. This is 3 weeks, which is obviously less than 30 days. So that stat still fits. So obviously still got her on top. Like you said, good point with the post. Then you talked about the new entrant, Me So Fancy, who is coming off of that win. That was only 2 weeks ago. And I believe there was a DRF article where Leonard Powell said, obviously he didn't want to bring her back in a week, but 2 weeks was definitely appealing. So she's back here and with Rispoli. So I think you've got to take a look at her. Ryan, you've got the 10. I don't remember if you had a Jesse in your top 3 last time.
I did not. I gave this one a closer look. Beat In the Air tonight. Beat Tequila and Therapy, who our buddy Jackson also loves. Beat Less Is More 2 back. Did lose to Chili Philly on the debut. But I mean, this horse has beaten a handful of these in this race. I get that McCarthy's off to a slow start. Frey's only 1 for 30. So what? Hey Jesse has definitely shown some progression. Start over start, has shown the ability to win on dirt and on turf, is a stakes winner on dirt. Obviously broke the maiden 2 turns on turf. Graysons can run on genuinely anything. I can put the Grays in on the 8 West, and he's gonna run great. So yeah, I want to put Hey Jesse in the mix here. Put her in third. I think she's got some good tactical ability. She could be forwardly placed, similar to how she was 2 back on the turf, or last time out on the dirt. That was an impressive closing kick at Los Al. I understand that the stretch is around 17 miles long, otherwise known as about 4.5 furlongs. But but hey, Jesse's got a nice closing kick, and that translates really well to turf. So I'm excited to see what this one has, and I think Hey Jesse's going to be a pretty decent price, if I had to guess.
I would think she would be. I know she's got the wins on both turf and dirt. But just connections alone, I think she'll be a decent price. And just because she got the win last time at 16-1, I don't think that's going to decrease her price all that much. She did beat the horse that I now have in third, the 2 Tequila and Therapy, who I think our good buddy Jackson is a big fan of. And I think he's a big fan because of her prior turf form, which is what I'm kind of looking at. Maldonado should have her probably a little closer to the lead. Hopefully she's able to secure the rail and save some ground, because her turf form definitely does fit with some of these, and some of these don't really have too much proven turf form. So I've got her in third as of now. I'll quickly touch on who I did have in third. And then I got to mention the morals that I live by. I can't have an AE in the top 3, of course. We talked about that on the Turfway show with Ryan and Jackson on the Gallop Out. There was a 14 horse in the last race at Turfway tomorrow that I was interested in. Both of those guys liked. I believe Jackson actually singled in his pick 5. That sicko. Yeah, I've got this one. I would have had this one in the top 3, but because of that, the strict rules that I live by and hold myself accountable to, can't have this one in the top 3, of course. Ryan, you are just giggling.
It's just funny. That's that's a solid rule to live by. At least you're hard and fast with it. So I'll give it to you. No judgment there from me.
Yep. But we'll go ahead and move on to our best bets in the finale on Saturday. I'm 6'9" and Ryan is 6'8" Let me get our best bets up on the screen. And both of us have a late pick 3 for the viewers. You're starting with 136, 357, and single in the 6 in the last $27 ticket. Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, singling the last, take another card. If I singled the 12 last time in the same horse, I'm going to single the 6. So you cut the post positions in half. Just projected to get an even better trip as you take a sip of a finally adult drink on our show here.
Relax.
First leg going 136. This is a little different than my original ticket. I added the 3 Old Pal just because I mentioned that post position draw was appealing to me. And I wanted to make sure that horse, got used because I think you might even get, 7-2 or something on that horse. And then, next leg going 357. Talked about those runners as well. And again, that race is very wide open. It wouldn't surprise me if any of the if any horse in there won. I think if I play a pick 5, not sure that I will. That's probably a race I'm going to go really, really deep in because basically all of them have a chance except for maybe 2. That's a spread race for me. But in this instance, I'm just going to keep it simple with my top 3 picks. And then again, singling, take another card in the last.
Yeah, very similar to what you had. Good luck with that pick 3. I'm sorry if I just blasted everyone's eardrums with me dropping my phone on the desk.
You didn't.
Thank God. It couldn't have been as loud as that one time you had your mic really hot, right?
I guess so.
My pick 3 ticket is 3-7 with 6 with 2, 6, 9, 13. Definitely adding the 13 in the last race. It's very similar to what I gave out a week ago. Old Pal and Allegato in the first leg, and then singling R. Heisman for Pratt and Peter Miller, I believe, in the second leg. Then the last leg, 2, 6, 9, 13. Obviously, you have to have the AE in there if she does draw in. I will go ahead and bring up the final banner. Ryan, anything that you want to mention? Anything that's going on in your life? Inspire us, my friend.
Well, nothing super inspiring other than, Thursday through Monday racing at Santa Anita, which is going to be awesome. We got Turfway coming back tomorrow. We got Oaklawn Park running Friday through Monday. They added a day for January 30th as well. We got a spectacular card on Saturday at the Fairgrounds. We got incredible racing all over. So I'm excited. It seems like we're finally back. I know it's only been about 2 weeks, but man, last weekend I was itching to bet anywhere. We were all over the place. And then Jackson's in the chat mentioning the last thing I want to mention. That's right, 2:40 a.m. Pacific, 5:40 a.m. Eastern. Hong Kong, we will not be live. I'm going to be very asleep. I'm going to be so asleep. But don't forget to get your bets in at Hong Kong because they got great racing. They got like 20 mil in the pool every race, which is just absurd numbers. I might have to move to Hong Kong sometime.
Wow, that would be fantastic. We would be doing the show at 9:30 Eastern, and what time would you be doing it? Like 6:30 in the morning?
Yeah, something ridiculous for sure.
It would be quite the time discrepancy. But yeah, great racing all this weekend and even into early next week. Got the Turfway Pick 5 carryover if you want to go check out my opinions, and I don't know why you'd want to see Ryan's, but you can check that out as well. Over on the Gallop Out, we filmed that earlier today. Around 5 Eastern, so make sure you check that out, and then all of the other content. I believe you guys have an Aqueduct show tomorau.
That's right. That's a great plug for my channel. Thank you. I was terrible at that.
You gotta add that in there. You're too focused on Hong Kong.
Can you blame me?
Yeah, but that's gonna wrap it up for us. For my wonderful co-host Ryan Anderson, this has been your host Noah Meagher. This has been episode 14 of Pacific Horseplayers, covering races 6 and 8 at Fairgrounds and the late pick 3 at Santa Anita. Of course, as we like to do here, PHP out.